The first thing you need to know about Kate Remington is that she never trusted anyone. Not with coffee, not with deadlines, and definitely not with the backup infrastructure that kept Zenith Corp breathing. The second thing? She had just watched Director of Technology Vincent Crane delete her life's work with the casual indifference of someone canceling a Netflix subscription. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday when Kate spotted the deployment flag that would haunt her nightmares: bypass_legacy_backup equals true. No consultation. No review. Just Vincent's digital signature stamped on what amounted to corporate suicide wrapped in optimization jargon. She stared at her monitor, the glow casting shadows across her face like prison bars. The thermos of green tea beside her had gone cold hours ago, forgotten in the wake of discovering that her meticulously crafted backup system, the one that had silently prevented 3 catastrophic failures in the past 18 months, was about to be lobotomized by a man who once asked her why servers needed to be turned on to work. This wasn't just negligence. This was vandalism dressed in a 3-piece suit. Kate had built her reputation on paranoia and precision. While others rushed toward deadlines, she constructed fail-safes. While others celebrated successful deployments, she stress-tested disaster scenarios. Her backup system wasn't just software, it was architectural poetry written in redundancy and signed with her digital DNA. The system she'd coded after the great ransomware incident of 2023 wasn't in any manual. It couldn't be. The manual would have been lost in the budget cuts that eliminated technical writers, along with anyone else who understood that documentation wasn't bureaucracy, it was survival. At 6:15 a.m., after running 17 different failure simulations that all ended in digital apocalypse, Kate walked into Vincent's corner office. The walls were decorated with motivational posters about synergy and disruption. The man himself was already halfway through his first espresso, scrolling through LinkedIn posts about AI revolutionizing everything. "Vincent, we need to talk about the deployment." He didn't look up. "If it's about timeline, we're locked in. Demos Thursday." "It's about the backup trigger you removed. If this system fails." "Kate," he interrupted, finally granting her eye contact, "we're moving toward automated solutions. Your manual processes are exactly the kind of technical debt we're eliminating." Technical debt. As if 6 years of bulletproof architecture was some kind of mortgage payment. "This isn't debt. It's insurance." Vincent leaned back in his ergonomic throne, the kind that cost more than her monthly rent. "Insurance we can't afford. If your backup was mission critical, it would be integrated into our CI/CD pipeline. Since it's not." He shrugged. "Legacy systems die so new ones can live." Kate felt something crystallize in her chest. Not anger, something colder. More permanent. She didn't argue. Arguing with Vincent was like debugging code written by a caffeinated intern at 3 a.m., theoretically possible, but not worth the aneurysm. Instead, Kate did what she did best. She documented everything. Every bypassed security check. Every ignored warning flag. Every catastrophic scenario that Vincent's optimization would trigger. She compiled it into a report that read like a medical examiner's autopsy: clinical, thorough, and devastating. The email went to Patricia Wells, VP of Infrastructure, at 2:17 p.m. with the subject line, "Critical System Vulnerability Requesting Immediate Review." No panic, no drama, just cold facts and annotated screenshots showing exactly where Vincent's brilliant innovation would cause everything to collapse. Patricia's response came 43 minutes later, but not from Patricia. It was from Vincent's assistant Bethany, with that surgically polite tone that corporate communications perfected decades ago. "Hi Kate. Thanks for flagging this concern. Director Crane has reviewed the deployment details and confirmed all systems are within acceptable parameters. Moving forward, please ensure all feedback follows proper escalation protocols. Best, Bethany." Kate stared at the message until her vision blurred. Her ticket had been closed without anyone even opening the attached documentation. Status: resolved, non-critical. She opened a private encrypted folder on her personal cloud drive. Title: Post-Deployment Failure Analysis Predictive. Then she began uploading everything. Every log, every screenshot, every email thread. At the top, she typed a single line. "Ignored warnings become expensive lessons." Thursday morning arrived like a death sentence with a smile. The deployment celebration in the main Slack channel looked like a digital parade. GIFs of dancing cats, champagne emojis, and Vincent posting a selfie with his coffee mug captioned, "Smooth sailing ahead." #innovation. Kate sat at her desk, watching colleagues who'd never looked at her code celebrate its destruction. The irony was almost artistic. At 9:23 a.m., her badge stopped working. The security scanner flashed red, not yellow for error, but red for "you no longer exist here." Kate stood frozen at the turnstile, her laptop bag slung over one shoulder, holding the coffee she'd bought from the lobby cafe like some kind of farewell toast. "Miss Remington?" The security guard looked uncomfortable. "You'll need to check with HR." The walk down the polished corridor felt like a perp walk. Past the break room where someone was microwaving fish. Past the conference room where the quarterly planning meeting was arguing about user engagement metrics. Past the cubicle where the new intern was already struggling with the same Jenkins configuration that Kate had warned would conflict with the backup retention protocols. HR was waiting with the efficiency of an execution squad. "Kate, we're restructuring for operational agility," announced Diane from HR, sliding a manila envelope across the desk like it was a restaurant check. "Today's your last day." Was this Vincent's decision? This was a departmental optimization. "We're moving toward more automated solutions." Automated solutions. Kate almost laughed. Vincent had eliminated the human failsafe and called it progress. Act V, the climax, digital Armageddon. Kate drove home in a daze, the cardboard box of her belongings rattling in the back seat like bones in a coffin. Her apartment felt too quiet, too still. She made tea, sat on her couch, and stared at her phone. She didn't have to wait long. At 3:17 p.m., while Kate was reading a book about hiking trails in Colorado, Vincent's deployment went live. The dashboard lit up green. The Slack channels exploded with celebration. Success notifications cascaded through the system like digital confetti. Then, 20 minutes later, the first error appeared. Not a warning, an error. A real, honest-to-God, system-breaking error that propagated through their infrastructure like wildfire through a paper factory. Authentication servers crashed. Database connections severed. The entire customer-facing platform began hemorrhaging data like a punctured artery. Kate's phone buzzed with a news alert: Zenith Corp stock plunges as platform outage enters second hour. She didn't smile. This wasn't victory, it was vindication served with a side of corporate carnage. The rollback procedures launched automatically, searching for restore points that no longer existed. Vincent had removed the very system designed to save them from Vincent. By 7 p.m., Kate's phone had 17 missed calls. She answered the 18th. "Kate, this is Patricia Wells." No pleasantries. No small talk. Just the voice of someone standing in the ruins of their own decisions. "We have a situation." Kate walked to her window, looking out at the city lights twinkling like distant server LEDs. "I heard. The backup system. Vincent said it was deprecated." "Vincent said a lot of things." A long pause. "We need your help." Kate had been waiting for this call since the moment she watched her badge scanner flash red. "I'm no longer an employee." "We know. We're prepared to engage you as a consultant." "At what rate?" "Whatever you think is fair." Kate smiled for the first time in 3 days. "Triple my previous salary. Remote work only. Complete architectural control. No interference from Vincent. Done. And one more thing. I want a public statement acknowledging that the system failure was caused by removing security protocols I designed and recommended keeping." Another pause, longer this time. "Understood." 2 days later, Kate returned to Zenith Corp, not as an employee, but as the architect of their salvation. The same badge scanner that had rejected her now welcomed her back with a green light and a soft beep. The executive conference room fell silent when she entered. Vincent sat at the far end of the table, looking like a man who'd just discovered his parachute was actually a backpack full of regret. Kate opened her laptop, connected to the network, and pulled up the admin terminal. Her backup system was still there, dormant but intact, waiting in a server room that Vincent hadn't known existed. "The restore process will take 6 hours, she announced to the room. "During that time, nobody touches anything without my approval." She typed a single command, her digital signature authorizing the resurrection of everything Vincent had tried to kill. The system exhaled back to life like a patient waking up from surgery. As she worked, Kate could feel eyes on her, colleagues who'd watched her get fired, executives who'd ignore her warnings, and Vincent, whose career had just become a cautionary tale about the difference between automation and elimination. When the last server came online and the customer platform flickered back to full functionality, Kate closed her laptop and stood up. The system's stable. The architecture's documented. And Vincent. She looked directly at him. The next time you want to optimize something you don't understand, maybe ask the person who built it. She walked out of the conference room, past the cubicles where people were clapping, past the break room where someone had posted a printout of Zenith's stock price recovering, and out into the parking lot where her car waited. Kate drove home knowing she'd never again be the invisible engineer in the corner cubicle. She was now the consultant who'd proven that some bridges shouldn't be burned, especially when you're the one who built them. Some called it revenge. Kate called it justice with a root password. The quiet ones always know where the kill switches are hidden. And sometimes, just sometimes, corporate arrogance flips those switches all by itself. Sometimes the best way to prove your worth is to let them discover what happens without you. But be careful, that lesson might cost more than they're willing to pay.